Hey guys, Brendan here for R&B Reviews. Today I'll be talking about Boondock Saints 2 All Saints Day. Before I jump into the review, just 2 points right now. First of all, I'm going to be talking about spoilers from the first film. And second of all, if you have not seen the first Boondock Saints, hit the pause button, close your internet browser, shut down your computer, whatever you got to do. Go out and buy it, rent it, just watch it. Check out the Boondock Saints. I'm reviewing this movie as a fan of the first one. I loved it. It was one of those movies that like all your friends referenced and you had to go out and see. Like my friends would just quote lines from the movie. I had no idea what the movie was about. Went out, rented it with my brother one day, absolutely loved it. When I was like 13, 14, I was huge into like crime, gangster movies, anything like that. Stuff like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, Goodfellas, Casino, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction. I just loved anything crime related. And those movies were all about, essentially good guy gangsters. And the Boondock Saints was about, the guys who went out and just killed the gangsters. I mean, the Saints are very basically just two very religious Irish brothers who like to take out the trash, and just settle injustice. I mean, it's like a pair of Punishers almost, only not as serious. Boondock Saints 2. Let me start talking about that. Plot is kind of your sequel movie plot. A priest back in Boston, who the boys know, the Saints know, is murdered, and it's made to look like the brothers did it. So they come out of their sheep herding retirement in Ireland, and they head back over to America. And on their way there, they meet this guy named Romeo, played by Clifton Collins Jr., who at first I kind of thought, okay, this guy's supposed to be replacing Rocco, I get it. He's going to be the goofy guy in the group who wants to join in. But Romeo quickly proves himself to be a useful guy and a unique member in the Boondock Saints universe. And he's a very entertaining character, and Clifton Collins Jr. plays him perfectly. I mean, there's some great lines you're going to end up quoting from this guy as you're leaving the theater. But the three detectives from the first film are back. Dolly, Duffy, and Greenlee are all back, and this time they're worried that them planning with the Saints to kill Yakavetta in the first film is going to come back and bite him, and they're all going to end up in jail. So they're all very nervous that the Saints are either back or not coming back, but their skeletons are coming out of the closet either way. So the FBI sends over an agent who is a protege of Willem Dafoe's character from the first film, Eunice Bloom, played by Julie Benz. And this was a character that, as soon as I saw her on screen, I did not like her. But that's just because I have a bias. Everything I've ever seen Julie Benz in, she always kind of either plays the annoying wife on Dexter or the damsel in distress or the wife. I just never think she does anything interesting. But with this film, I absolutely began to completely love her character. Her character has as big as balls as all the other guys in this movie. I mean, she's kicking ass and taking names, and she definitely proves herself worthy of the, being a protege of Willem Dafoe's character from the first film. Billy Connolly's back as their father, and everything is being kind of masterminded as a revenge scheme by Yakovetta's son. Yakavetta was the gangster in the first film who was executed in the courtroom. The movie shows you flashbacks from the first film. This way, if you haven't seen the first film in a while, you're not going to be totally lost. But Boondock Saints 2 is definitely a sequel for the fans. As a fan, I was incredibly pleased with this flick. The action scenes are great. It's done pretty much in the same format the first Boondock Saints was, where it would show you the crime scene first, the police and Eunice Bloom investigating it, and all the detectives, trying to massage the investigation to point away from the two brothers. And then it shows you the actual what went wrong when the boys tried to pull off their plan. And all their plans are like stuff out of cheesy movies. That's what's so great about, the Saints, is that they take their plans from pretty much shit we see on TV. And that's great. It just adds to level of realism. The critics have just chewed this movie apart. I don't know what they were expecting. A Dark Knight-esque sequel? I don't even know, but they got it all wrong. And they concentrated way too much on like the homophobia aspect of the movie. Who cares? Leave it as it is. You're reading too deep into it, I think, some of these critics, but as a fan of the first Boondock Saints, this movie, I left the theater with a smile on my face, and I'm not going to say too much about this, but the climax of the film, you're going to walk out of the theater talking about. You're going to walk out of the theater wanting a Boondock Saints 3. And I really hope it happens. It actually does happen. That would be great if we got Boondock Saints 3, because this film just ended on such a great note. And fans will absolutely eat it up. There were gasps in my theater. Granted, there was like 15 people in the theater. There were gasps all the same. And everyone in my audience was just into the movie, cheering, laughing at everything. It was a great flick. And you really want to be hanging out with the brothers. They just seem like two fun guys. I mean, they're always like drinking and partying and having a good time and going out and greasing gangsters. Also, the film shows you sort of the origins of this family tradition. You know, you see the Saint's father, how he got started, how his first kill was, and how pretty much everything got started. And it's done these pretty well done flashbacks in like the 1950s, I believe. Just the film also looks great. The cinematography is really one of the best aspects of the film. The film looks perfect. There's no complaints about the look of the film. I thought it came off pretty well. I mean, there's some green screen moments, but it's forgivable. The real high point here is all the actors returning. All the minor actors and stuff from the first film returning to this one. I mean, they bring back Rocco in a dream sequence, which was great. Troy Duffy knew exactly what the fans would have wanted in this movie, and we got it with like Rocco opens up the movie and he has a little dream sequence halfway through, and it's great. And even the cursing bar owner from the first film is back, that old guy. The three detectives are great in this one. They get a lot more to do, and it's nice because they know who the Saints are, and they're kind of in cahoots with them, so you kind of see you get to know the three detectives a little more, and I wish more screen time would have been spent on them. But quickly, let me jump on the negative points of this movie. Peter Fonda's in this movie, and he does a good job, but I kind of felt like he was underutilized. I'm a Peter Fonda fan, so I always thought more Peter Fonda on screen better. But I felt like Troy Duffy put all his eggs in one basket with this movie, and there's just a lot of characters and storylines that are going on, and it gets a little heavy-handed towards the end of the film when you're finally given the exposition, so to say. But that's just a minor thing. That's a minor thing me and some friends were talking about. I mean, you'll come out of this movie quoting it, and you're gonna want to like play video games or just something. And being raised Catholic and being raised with an affinity towards gangster films and being Irish, the first Boondock Saints really spoke to me in my being a teenager, young kid and stuff like that. It was great to go see Boondock Saints 2 in theaters because it brought me back to that moment. I was able to enjoy this movie as much as I enjoyed the first Boondock Saints. Because frankly, I hate action movies. And I've grown out of them. I think there are some great ones out there, but I don't watch them as actively as I used to. Sequels in general are usually shit. Boondock Saints 2, best sequel I've seen this year. If it's playing at a theater near you, and you saw the first Boondock Saints, and you liked it, and you loved it, go out and see this on a big screen with an audience. Bring some friends who have also seen it, because it's opened up great dialogue. Me and my friends were talking, we all kind of discussed how we came to discover the first film. And all three of us had very different stories of how we came across it. And it's just, it's a great guy movie, it's a great crime film. And it's just cool to see the brothers back on screen together. I mean, Sean Patrick Flanery and Norman Reedus do a great job. I mean, you really feel like they're passionate about these characters. These are the characters they're going to be remembered forever for, and they do a great job at playing them. And it feels like you really haven't missed a day since the first film. Granted, it's been released 10 years later. This sequel is worth your time. If you weren't a fan of the first Boondock Saints, this movie's not going to change your mind. You're not going to, love it. But if you were a fan of the first film, you owe it to yourself to check this out. The sequel is worthwhile, in my opinion. There's really no negative. Aside from what I brought up, I don't think I could bring up anything else. Troy Duffy knew what to put in the sequel for the fans. And like I said, there's some moments that are going to have you in gasps towards the end of the film. And great action, great music, great acting. The film looks great. The critics are just being bastards towards it, but I don't think they really understand this movie. I mean, I don't think they understood the first one either, but it's a great flick. I will be picking this up when it comes out on DVD for sure. So for this edition of R&B Reviews, you owe it to yourself to go out there and see Boondock Saints 2. And if you haven't seen the first one and you've watched this entire video, well, I've probably ruined some bits from the first film for you, but I warned you, so. And until next time, take it easy, and I'll see you on the next edition of R&B Reviews.